fish. Here we go. Where's Will? Where's Will? Is he caught in the fish net? Poor dolphin. We need to get that dolphin out of the fish net. Yay, he's free. My name is Davison, and I'm a pediatric occupational therapist. And I work with children with neurological disabilities or genetic disabilities such as Down syndrome or autism or cerebral palsy. And I work with them to help them to be able to function as the child of their age. Okay, go get the box. Hurry, hurry, so we can get these beads up. For instance, if I have a 5-year-old child with a diagnosis of cerebral palsy, I'll be doing those things with him to try to get him to do something a 5-year-old child would do. What you're seeing in the clip today is a type of therapy that I do with some children, and it's incorporated really into a lot of the therapy I do with all the kids that I see. But this therapy is sensory integration therapy. Get your shoulders, wait, get your shoulders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and your chest. 1, 2, 3, and we're all done. Sensory integration is defined as being able to organize all of our senses. You know, we speak of our 5 senses, of the sense of sight and sound and taste and smell and touch. That's pretty typical that we know those are our 5 senses. There are a few more senses that we don't speak about very often. One of them is called the vestibular sense, and that is the brain's ability to process information about where our body is in space and related to gravity. And that has to do a lot with position of the head, because the receptors or how they process the vestibular information is in your inner ear, or begins there. And the other sense that we frequently don't talk about is the proprioceptive sense. That's the sensation that we feel that, again, helps us figure out where our bodies are and how much pressure we're using with our movement. But it's the sensors, the receptors that are in the muscles and the ligaments and the joints. So we have our 5 basic senses, and then we have the vestibular sense, the movement, and also the proprioceptive sense, which is about movement of our limbs. Now let's go in here and see. Look, this was the one. We also have the tactile sense. You know, the tactile sense with the basic senses is just the sense of touch. We have that sense of touch. But to be able to process what we feel or what we're touching is very different. So sometimes when you're dealing with children that have sensory processing problems, there's a breakdown in the sensation processing. For instance, there will be some of those individuals that can't tolerate certain touch that you would think, oh, what's the big deal? I mean, I like the feel of fur, or I like the feel of rice on my hands, or I like the feel of a touch on my skin, a pat on my back. Those children might be hypersensitive to that touch. That sensory system is not working correctly. Okay, are you ready, Freddie? Oh, no, you're spinning. Oh, no, come here and give me your hands. With Will today, we are doing a lot of movement and tactile and what we call proprioceptive activities that will help to organize him so that he can function as the child that he should be at age 3, such as being able to feed himself or sit and learn to play with toys appropriate for his age. You think? Why don't you stop and push the other way? Ready? And stop, 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 stop. We saw Will on the swing today, and what that is providing for him is an activity that gives him vestibular stimulation, and so that he can learn a little bit more about his body in space. It takes in many kinds of things that are helpful for his learning and his play development, such as eye-hand coordination, being able to pick up the object that was on the floor as he was swinging by, or knowing where his feet are as he's swinging and crashing into the pad, that his feet are at the bottom of his body and his head might be at the top or the side of his body. With children like Will, there may be some what we call hypersensitivity to movement, and so they may not want to swing, so we have to work our way up to that. Oh, look, I found the cat. But you got to go through the tunnel to do this one. So go through the tunnel with the cat and come put it in, so Miss Andrea can watch you. She hasn't seen you do it yet.
Excuse me?
Go around to the tunnel. Okay, go around. Yay, you're doing. With the tunnel, for Will, it was really good for him to crawl through that tunnel because he's experiencing his body in a small space, so it gives him a little bit more of awareness of his body. It also provides some heavy work so that it acts on his little nervous system to help organize it so that he can pay attention to the task at hand. He had to crawl up, over, and he's feeling the different surfaces under him, and he's receiving so much sensory input that would be beneficial to help him learn where his body is in space. Okay, now get ready, because we got to pull. Are you ready? Pull hard. Pull. Pull. I think that's good right there. I think that's good. Now climb back over and let's get the swing. The trapeze swing provides a little bit more of what we call motor planning, his ability to plan how he's going to hold on to this swing, and he's going to back step, and he's going to swing, and he's going to fall into the crash pad at the right timing. So all of that is a little bit higher level of motor skills, which we call motor planning, in order for him to plan out the whole activity and do it the right way and feel good about himself when he does it. Use your fingers. Your fingers have to be your eyes. Your fingers have to be your eyes, no looking. A lot of children that have sensory integration processing problems do not process the tactile information very well. Some children don't like the feel of specific textures on their body, and it can interfere, for instance, with self-feeding. They may not want to pick up their food to feed themselves because they don't like the way it feels on their hands. So with Will, he's inside the beans, but he's also having a little bit higher level task of being able to discriminate the object inside those beans. So he's getting the tactile input from the beans, but then he's having to use a little higher level of learning to find that and be more discriminative about what is the bean versus what is the pom-pom that's in the beans. You're cheating! You are cheating! As they're involved in sensory integration therapy, it's like you're forming new tracks. You're doing it in a functional way that's not threatening, that they can feel success in, and then you're gradually making it a little bit more so that they're having to adapt their skill a little bit more and more each time. For instance, getting on a moving swing and just sitting there on a platform swing. We use different kinds of swings. It doesn't have to just be the hammock. They could be sitting on a platform swing and just sitting there, and to be able to tolerate going back and forth. The next step, once they got used to that, would maybe be coming up onto their knees and tolerating that a little bit more. Finally, they're moving their body all over the swing, and they're doing a great job with it.